Hey everybody, it's Troy with eBuzz Central. I bet you're wondering why I'm on a Windows 11 desktop right now. Well, I wanted to go over a few things. As you know, Linus Tech Tips has been doing a video coverage of them switching to Linux. A 30-day challenge, I do believe it is. And there's some things that have come up in this video that really bother me. But the reason I'm on a Windows 11 desktop is I want to ask everybody out there that is watching this video, when is the first time you experienced Windows? For me, it was in the 1980s. That's a long time ago because I'm old. But was it really easy for you when you first used it? Did you have to jump through a couple hoops to get certain things to work? I mean, plug and play didn't come along until the 90s, so if you had peripherals, it was really hard sometimes to get those things running. All I'm saying is, no matter what technology you use, whether it be Windows or Linux, there's always something that you're going to have to search around and find a fix for. Linux isn't that hard. So, before we get started on this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, or follow my channel. It doesn't cost anything, and if you end up not liking me, you can always unsubscribe. If you like the channel and enjoy the videos that we're producing, you can become a member to the channel, buy us a cup of coffee, or better yet, become a patron over on Patreon. Those links will be in the description below. Now, first thing I'm going to do is we're going to zip on over and take a look at a snippet from one of the videos that I have an issue with, and let me pull that up. First thing I want you to do, if you would please, look up top and see where it says Linux hates me. And it says Daily Driver Challenge Part 1. I'm going to play a little bit of this and then stop it where I have an issue.
To celebrate the exciting launch of Windows 11, Luke and I are challenging each other to ditch Windows altogether and replace our Windows PCs with Linux for a month. And if either of us caves, they have to dye their hair in red, green, blue, and yellow quadrants permanently. Easy, you might say. But I'm not talking about our work machines that are basically just used for word processing and web browsing. I'm talking about our personal rigs, the ones we both use on a daily basis, primarily for gaming.
Did you all catch that? He basically said they're daily use rigs that are primarily used for gaming. Right off the bat, I have an issue with this because the title of the video is Daily Driver Challenge Part 1. Okay? Everybody uses their PCs or their laptops as a daily driver for different reasons. Okay? I would say more than 80%, if not more, don't ever game. So this is kind of misleading to me. That's my opinion. If you disagree with me, leave it in the comments below. For me, if you're telling me a daily driver challenge, I want to know what I'm using for an office suite. I want to know how it's going to be with printers. I want to know how it's going to be with networking. I want to know if I'll be able to screen share on another PC, not to mention email, web browsing. When I think of daily driver, that's what I think of. Now, he's just stated the title of this is Daily Driver Challenge, but we're going to be working with PCs that are primarily used for gaming. That's not a fair title. And if somebody is thinking about switching to Linux and they watch this video, it doesn't really help them that much, to be quite honest, because not everybody switching to Linux is going to be gaming. Gaming has come a long way on Linux, especially with Proton and the Proton support that you have now in Steam. Not to mention they're trying to get the EAC, the Easy Anti-Cheat, up and working as well. It's coming real close. As a matter of fact, I just heard in the news that I believe they've found a way to make BattleEye work on Linux now. So that is a major door being open right there. I understand gaming is important. But if you put a title out that it's going to be a daily driver challenge, I think it's going to turn a lot of people away. That's just my opinion. Let's go to the next clip I have an issue with.
Nothing against the author of this article. I did pick up some really useful information, but it is full of jargon that a non-Linux enthusiast couldn't possibly be expected to know, not to mention seemingly conflicting information. How is it that Ubuntu can be simultaneously easy to use and beginner-friendly and a hassle to set up?
Okay, this is another thing I have an issue with. He just said he's getting conflicting information that Ubuntu is easy to use, beginner-friendly, but a hassle to set up. But that's not what it says. If you look at what's highlighted, it says getting set up for gaming can be a hassle. So if you're somebody that's new and you want to switch to Linux and leave Windows behind and you watch this video and you hear Linus talking, he's saying it's easy to use and stable, beginner friendly, but a hassle to set up. No, it's not. Getting set up for gaming can be a hassle. That right there is conflicting information. He's judging the article for having conflicting information and then disseminating conflicting information when it comes to what the article truly states. I know. Linus has been around a long time. I watch a lot of his videos. He is a very smart and intelligent man that does a lot of great work and gets a lot of good information to all of us out there, whether we're in the Windows community or the Linux community. But I take exception to this because it's kind of disingenuous to say that it's a hassle to set up when you can see plainly that it says getting set up for gaming can be a hassle. I think you have to make these things a little bit more clear for people that are watching these videos, because if you don't, people are going to be afraid to try Linux just because of the words that he's saying. Now, on to something else I have an issue with.
Of course, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds on any of this for now, because the goal today for part 1 is to pick a distro, get it installed, and run a game. I will definitely need Steam. Failed to install Steam. Warning, you were trying to remove the following essential packages. What are you talking about? I've done nothing with this other than install that hard info thing. You know what's hilarious? The last time I tried to do anything on Ubuntu, I ran into this exact same thing. I was told, it's super simple. You just install it. No, you do not. This is stupid. Apparently, this is the solution. And I have to type, yes, do as I say in order to...
Okay, do y'all see it? Do my fellow Linux users out there see this? He is getting ready to say yes to this command without reading the warning. He's an intelligent man. I guarantee you if he was doing something on a Windows machine right now and it said warning, he would stop and find out what the warning was about. But here, he's just going to hit yes and wonder why his system just disappears. Read the warning, everybody. It says right here, this should not be done unless you know exactly what you're doing. He's removing the Pop desktop. He's removing GNOME Control Center. He's removing Pop GNOME Initial Setup. He is removing his desktop. So here in a second, everything blacks out and he wonders why. The man can read. I can read. If I'm on my system and a warning comes up like that, I'm like, whoa, no, I am not going to do that. There's a bug. There has been a bug, and I do believe it was just fixed. But he is smart enough to know if this warning pops up, let me open up a web browser and investigate this a little bit, as opposed to just hitting yes and watching what happens here in a second. Let's take a look.
And I have to type, yes, do as I say in order to install it. And maybe it will install and launch now. What is the point of having a... Oh. Hello?
Did you all see that? And with somebody like him that is intelligent as he is, he hit yes anyway, knowing that it said it was going to remove all that stuff, and then filmed it and act surprised. Now, guys, I'm not saying that he's got ulterior motives towards the Linux community. I'm not saying that he's purposely downing Linux to people to make them stay with Windows. We know how big of a Windows fanboy he truly is. But at the end of the day, it's a little disingenuous because he is intelligent. He isn't ignorant. And what he just did is a total noob move. And if you disagree with me, please put it in the comments below, because that was a total noob move. Everybody that watched this video can see that was a noob move. So, we're going to go on to the next video that I had some issues with.
Death to Microsoft! The open source community is ready to send you to your grave! Your tyrannical reign over PC gamers is at an end! Freedom!
Is what I would say if I lived with Linus Wallace III over here in Fantasyland, where any of that was true.
Now, quite honestly, I take a little offense to this for being a Linux user on a daily basis for the last 13 years. Me, it comes off kind of mockingly. I know the way Linus does his videos, and he's very, very good at what he does, but I really think this is a underhanded shot towards us Linux guys. I see people screaming from the rooftops every day, Linux is better than Windows. But honestly, there are very few that are screaming, Linux gaming is better than Windows. So I think we need to kind of level this out. I know that gaming on Linux is coming a long way. I know that we're getting closer every day. And I know people that are gaming on Linux that their experience is better on Linux than it was when they were on Windows. And if they get the multiplayer things set in stone with the easy anti-cheat and things like that, I truly believe Linux will surpass Windows in performance. Where Linux is going to have their major issue is people adopting Linux to game on it. So, having said that, I believe this was a little disingenuous because there are a lot of people that are like Mr. Wallace in the background that stand up and go, hey, Linux is better than Windows. But not a lot of them are going, Linux gaming is better than Windows. So let's go ahead and go to the next issue that I have. Okay, I'm going to give you just a little bit of context before I play this next clip. He has switched because Pop! OS crashed on him because if you remember, he hit yes and it uninstalled the desktop, it uninstalled the shell. So now he has switched to Manjaro, okay? I'm going to give you a little context. He's in Manjaro now and he's trying to install OBS. Now this, what he does right here, is totally, completely disingenuous, in my opinion, with him being as intelligent and as smart as he is. So let's watch this clip real quick.
Sometimes that's the problem with knowing just enough to be dangerous. I tried to apt-get OBS, the industry standard for desktop capture and streaming, in the terminal, only to discover that Manjaro, the Linux distribution that I'm using, doesn't come with apt because apt is for managing packages on Debian and related OSs. Oops. Making life more difficult, the message that comes up when you try to execute the command doesn't say, hey, you should probably be using Pacman, you dunce. It tries to install some kind of dependency for apt, then just quietly fails and prompts you to do the same thing again when you try to use it. Infinite loop, baby.
Now, he said that in such a way that it made it sound like he had no idea, when he could have went and Googled it or DuckDuckGo'd it, how do you install packages on Manjaro, and had his answer in a second. And anybody, I'm sorry, anybody that's been around either Ubuntu, Manjaro, Arch, whatever you use on a daily basis, whether you're a week into it or whether you're a year into it, if you've test drove Ubuntu or test drove Manjaro or even read the slightest about it, you know the difference in package management. Not to mention, he could have went over to add and remove software and installed it directly from the desktop on his Manjaro distribution. This is another thing right here that if somebody that's wanting to leave Windows wants to switch to Linux and they watch this, it's just going to confuse them and they're going to be like, okay, it's just too difficult. I don't want to deal with it. Example, the other day I had a response on a fixed microphone issue on laptops video that I did about a month ago. And the guy come back and he left a comment and he said, if that's what they got to do to get audio working, it's too complicated. And I'm just like, really? Cut and paste two different things, hit the save button. It takes less than a minute and a half. That is not too complicated. People cut and paste all day long. I just don't understand it. It takes a little investigation. And I think in some of our Linux forums, I think that's what happens, is you'll get 10 or 15 people that'll come in and ask the exact same question instead of just doing a search or doing a search in the forum for the question to get it answered and be able to fix it without having to ask again. And I think some people get frustrated. But at the same time, we also have to be welcoming to people that are wanting to switch to Linux. So let's go to the next thing that I take issue with.
For me, the bottom line is what you're looking to get out of it. If you're daily driving Linux for game streaming out of a genuine passion for learning more about it, then have at it. Have fun. But just know what you're getting into. PC gaming already requires a certain amount of tinkering. I mean, there's a reason that more people game on consoles. You know, whether it's trying to track down save files in some Vista-era folder or forcing an aspect ratio in an INI file. But a Linux gaming PC, it requires all of that crap and then another mountain of crap on top of it.
He definitely had to use the word Linux and crap in the same sentence. This one I may be nitpicking on a little bit, but I don't believe I am. For the simple fact that his first video didn't say gaming. His first video said daily driver. And within the first minute and a half of the video, daily driver for gaming. I understand where he's coming from. I understand what he's saying. But I do believe that it's kind of disingenuous to name the title of your video, switching to Linux as my daily driver, and then wanting to do nothing but game on it because we're wanting to reach people that want to leave Windows for Linux, okay? You can leave Windows to come to Linux to try gaming, especially if you're playing a lot of offline games. There's a lot of them out there that are going to work. But at the same time, Linux is making leaps and bounds, especially with the Steam Deck, the development of Proton, the development of the Easy Anti-Cheat, and now with word coming out that BattleEye is going to be working on Linux, if not already, very shortly, that gaming is definitely making a big jump in the Linux community. But if you're going to put out a video that states switching to Linux as a daily driver and then try to do nothing but game on it, it's disingenuous to people that watch it. It's disingenuous to the Linux community. It's disingenuous to Linux overall. Because at the end of the day, Linux is a better operating system than Windows. Hey, tell me what you think. Does this video point out anything for you? Did you have different opinions when you watched the video? Let me know in the comments below. Do me a favor before you leave today. Please like, subscribe, or follow my channel. Doesn't cost anything, and if you end up not liking me, you can always unsubscribe. If you like the channel and enjoy the videos that we're producing, you can become a member right here on the channel, buy us a cup of coffee, or better yet, become a patron to the channel over on Patreon. Those links will be in the description below. Thank you for watching my video, and I'll see you in the next video.